Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 4, Episode 1 of Paramount Plus's Mayor of Kingstown, entitled Coming Around the Mountain. And actually, that's not the title. There's an apostrophe in place of that A, so it's Coming Around the Mountain. And after 3 seasons that more or less, I think, followed the same path and formula, this 4th season seems like it's almost kind of like a soft reboot. Lots of staples of the show are gone and replaced with new dynamics and characters that are going to change the way this show has to operate, because it's going to change the nature of Mike's relationships. So Iris and Milo, again, 2 staples of the show up to this point, gone. You got a new villain who, while we only see him for one scene, is very, very, very impactful scene. We got a new warden. Kareem's been replaced by Nina Hobbs. She's played by the legendary Edie Falco. And I like this change again because it shakes things up. Mike had a level of access and sway with Kareem that he clearly is not going to have with Nina. How's this going to impact his ability to protect Kyle? Speaking of shaking things up, and speaking of Kyle, he's in prison now. It looks like it's only going to be for 6 months, but I'd be shocked if Kyle makes it out of there alive. And what's funny about this is that if you've watched my coverage of this show, I don't know if I did season 1. I know I did 2 and 3. I've guaranteed Kyle's death on this show several times, and it kind of feels like they're trolling me at this point because they're really, really leaning into the idea that Kyle ain't gonna make it out of prison. Like, don't worry, it's only going to be 6 months. Okay, well, when you say it like that, it makes me think it's not going to be 6 months. It's either going to die or it's going to be way longer. Long, lingering shots of the baby that he's leaving for 6 months that he's never going to see again after he leaves his wife to raise him alone. All of the guilt laid on Evelyn for him going in there in the first place, so that when he dies, Mike and Evelyn can have even more animosity toward one another. Carney telling that new female guard how important Kyle is. Kyle talking about, we're going to leave Kingstown once I get out. You ain't going nowhere, Kyle, because you're going to die. But it's all there, man. But at the same time, I've been certain about Kyle's death before, and I've been wrong. So, I mean, we'll see. But nevertheless, the show will now benefit from the added tension of us, the audience, simply knowing how much of a distraction and weight it's going to be on Mike to have Kyle in prison. But that's enough build up. Let's talk about whatever I've left myself to talk about, because I feel like I've covered everything. Let's talk about whatever I have left to cover. And I want to start with the aforementioned scene with the character that I'm assuming is going to be the season's big bad. We don't know this guy's name yet, but he's played by Lenny James of Walking Dead fame, good old Morgan. And this guy has several Russians laid out with their necks across train tracks. And I mean, the inevitable does happen. And I liked how this scene didn't drag out the will they, won't they tension. So we learned that the guys were drugged, right? And they're probably drugged so that they could be, their drugged bodies could be easily brought to the train tracks. They could be laid out like that. Guys wake up right as the train's coming, because it wouldn't be as interesting if they were still asleep. And what they could have done is they could have had a conversation. The Russians, oh, you save us. You're messing with, our boss is going to come get you. Oh, no, I got to do this. They could have had that back and forth. But the fact that they didn't, the fact that they set it up and they cut the heads off. The fact that the show didn't dawdle with it and didn't drag it out, it makes Lenny James's character feel equally as cold as the show was with the scene. There's nothing to discuss. Train's coming, heads off, let's go. And it just made him feel more ruthless to not drag that scene out, and I appreciated that. Mike believes that whoever did this is coming for Bunny next, and again, interesting turn of events, because someone does end up coming for Bunny. So Mike is going to assume that he was right in his assumption, but it's not. The Lenny James character is not Colombian as far as I can tell. So Mike seems to be off in his assumption on who is doing what. And that could end up being pretty interesting. Back to Kyle. Like I said, Kyle sentenced to 2 years for shooting Robert, but he only is going to serve 6 months, presumably. Still, that's 6 months in Anchor Bay as a cop in there with people who he presumably helped put in there. This might be the most compelling thing going on the show this season. You know, the idea of a cop who's also Mike's brother getting thrown to the belly of the beast. And the show knows that. They're not even trying to hide, I don't think, how likely it is that Kyle's going to die in there, or at least the high probability of it. And weirdly, I think that transparency works in the show's favor. So, good stuff, man. I'm really excited to see what happens with Kyle. Like I mentioned up top, Edie Falco joins the cast as Nina Hobbs. She's the new warden at Anchor Bay. She's not here to play any games. She immediately distances herself from Kareem's corrupt regime. Yeah, that's right. And she eyes Jackson with suspicion. Jackson is the guard that's in there that's related to Bunny. She doesn't seem too impressed with Carney sucking up either. And it's clear that she's going to be a problem for everyone, Mike included. Speaking of Mike, he meets with Bunny, who assures him that Raph's going to protect Kyle on the inside. No, it's not. But Bunny's good for a favor, but he's also, again, now a target. That becomes real when someone takes several shots at him. A drive-by. Drive-by makes it sound like the one party was stationary while the other was driving. Everybody was driving. But there's like a moving drive-by? I don't know. It's a drive-by attempt on Bunny. Mike and Ian respond. They take out everybody but one suspect who they arrest. But they believe these Colombians are coming for both Bunny's crew and the Russians who were on the train tracks. It was Constantine's crew. But I bet, one, it's a lot deeper than a territory grab. And two, like I said, Lenny James's character is a piece that's on the board that no one knows is on the board. So that's super interesting. And further, Mike believes that Mike's lack of knowledge of Lenny James's character's existence is pushing him in a direction that could just further inflame the issues. Elsewhere in the prison, we're introduced to Roberto. He's a presumably Colombian inmate and we see tension between him and Raph, and it makes you wonder, like, okay, is this guy's is the nature of his interaction with Raph because he knows in the back of his head that his people are at least going to attempt to take out Bunny? Food for thought. But Mike thinks, like I said, that they're behind everything, but we know that it was Lenny James' character that killed the Russians, so it's shaping up like, a multi-faction war is coming, but on top of that, some confusion and misdirection and just groups going after one another for things that they think that group did that they didn't do. I also want to shout out the writing on the whole Kyle going to prison arc, because I think it's a complex situation. So Evelyn comes to Mike's office and she makes a proposition that she made to Ian early in the episode. I'm going to talk about that in a second. That if Kyle just gives up Robert, Kyle's fine, right? Mike then makes a great point about how she's using one of the town's only good people as leverage to get Robert. Like, you can't pretend to be concerned about Kyle's well-being when you're doing something like that. And on top of that, we also know the personal relationship between the two of them is probably only exacerbating this tension as well. At the same time, an out is an out. Kyle's going to prison because he won't snitch on somebody who's a POS. Just do it, man. You can be good. But he don't want to be a snitch. So at the same time, to a degree, he's made his own bed and now he's got to sleep in it. She's giving them an out. They're refusing to take it. But on the third hand, like on the other hand, she makes the same proposition to Ian, and Ian makes the point that Robert has so much dirt on them that if they give up Robert, he can give up everybody. So Kyle is taking the L for everybody, not just Robert. So, like, there's a lot going on with that arc and how it's written, and I like what they laid out in this first episode. I also like how Mike told Evelyn that she's dead to him. Like, that's got a sting in general. Like, you don't want a stranger telling you that you're dead to them. You're like, what did I do? But somebody who you've been smashing, now you dead to them? Like, oh man, that's gotta hurt. Speaking of Ian, in the scene after the scene where Evelyn makes the offer, like, hey, if you give up Robert, I'll forget about Charlie. Side note, I love that Charlie scene. every time I watch this show, I think about that scene. Like, Ian is so stupid. Taking Charlie out of prison and then he kills the guy man, what a great moment in this show. Probably still an absolutely insane escalation. Probably my favorite moment on this show. But again, Ian refuses this deal. And then he gets in the car with Robert. And correct me if I'm wrong, was he not suggesting that somebody should kill Evelyn if she don't get her act together? Like, man, it is stupid. Like, he also doesn't tell Mike about Iris. And I get it. Like, why would you, who wants to tell Mike that? But Mike's going to find out at some point. And now that's going to be the next way in which Ian has disappointed him by doing something stupid. But by the end of the episode, Kyle's already assaulted the moment he enters the prison, despite all of Mike's protective efforts. Carney assures Mike that Kyle is going to be okay, but it's a hollow comfort. Mike's furious, as he should be. The episode closed with Bunny promising Raph a better world for him once he gets out, which, just like Kyle, feels like a death sentence for Raph. But we'll see. But yeah, man, strong opening episode. Like, it's bleak, it's tense. Good stuff all around. What works is that Mayor of Kingstown kind of has room to breathe now. Like, no Milo, no Iris, no clunky leftover plots. They've wiped the slate clean. They're building from a genuinely interesting premise. Kyle's storyline alone has the opportunity to be season defining. It could be a jump the shark moment as well. But let's just hope they don't squander it by going too far off the rails. But let me know what you thought in the comments. Like the channel, subscribe, share to social media, join the Discord, join the conversation, and until next week, peace.